The first step is we have to cut the wire from the reed switch in front and from the motor. And now we have to take off the wheels. I recommend to use a small screwdriver and then carefully pull off the wheels from the motor axle. And when we did this, take the same tool and push the contact aside to be able to lift the motor from its case. Maybe you have to restore the motor, but this won't be topic of this video. Now we have to remove the front axle by pressing this plastic tongue from underneath, and now we can lift the axle and it will come off very easy. And finally we have to pull off the magnet, which is usually glued to the plastic, so be careful, and take a needle nose pliers and carefully pull. And now we come to the point where we have to remove the old contacts. For this operation I usually take a small file, fix it in the vise, just to prevent the rivet from spinning while I'm drilling from the inside. Very important to know, don't drill in the rivet or through the rivet. It's just the upper edge from the rivet, and therefore I recommend to take 3.5 millimeters up to 4 millimeters metal drill. Drill very slowly and carefully. Don't use too much force, and then you will see the contact gets loose in no time. And now you're able to take off the old reed switch. Then finally take a pointed tool and excel the rest of the rivet like this. Now we have to do the same procedure with the other contact. Fix the rivet with a file from underneath and take your drill. Don't use too much pressure. Drill very slowly and you will see the contact will come off very easy. That's it for the moment. And then you have to clean your chassis. Now we are ready for the installation. We have our clean chassis, we have the contact which we start first, then we have the small rivet, and of course we need a hammer. A small hammer is enough, a small pair of pliers. Then we have our punching tool, which is just a bigger cut of nail. And then we have the special installation tool, which is very helpful. It's just a steel metal square tube, which I prepared with 2 tiny holes. You will see how useful this is. And of course we need a tiny nail, or better 2 of them. Now we lay down the rivet on the square tube. Then we place the whole of the chassis directly on the rivet. Then we take the contact and bring the whole of the contact directly on the rivet shaft. And we take the small pair of pliers and then we prefix the contact around the rivet shaft so that it's right in position. Then we take one of the small nails and insert it in the rivet hole. When we did this, we have to find one of the holes in this square tube tool. This will prevent the rivet from squeezed crooked. We need a straight rivet, and this is very useful. Then we take the cut-off nail or punching tool and then place it directly on the head of the tiny nail and give some hits with the hammer. Be careful, not too much. That's it. And we take off the nail and yes, looks brilliant. That's the way we want to have it. I skipped the step where I installed the other contact because it's absolutely the same procedure. We now have to insert the motor, and we have to check if the side of the motor has good contact to the tongue from the contact that we installed first. It has to sit quite firmly. Yeah. And here it matches perfectly. The contact plate from the motor has to be on the left side. Now we take our pre-wired reed switch. Here you see a very, very tiny collar that fits perfectly around the contact tongue. Just push it down. When you did this, then you take the end of the other wire and take your soldering iron and solder the wire to the contact of the motor. Don't solder it too hot. I recommend 250 degrees Celsius, not more. Otherwise you melt the plastic from the contact plate. Due to the fact that today's batteries are a little shorter in size compared to the old ones, it's necessary to bend 3 of the contact tongues, the one on the right side, the one on the left side and the one in the front, a little bit inwards so that they give good contact to the battery and that the battery sits firmly in position. Thing is, we can't do that before the contact installation, because if we would do that, we won't be able to punch the rivets. So we have to do this little adjustment in the end. The contact tongues are bent. Now I need the isolation covering, which is very important because that prevents the battery from getting short-circuited. And now we can insert the battery. This side is the plus side, the left side is the plus side. And now we are ready for testing. That's the way it should be. The test was successful. Now you can reinstall your wheels and the front axle. Make sure that the front axle sits on top of the reed switch. Then close your car. You're ready to race. Hope you enjoy your new restored Scorpions car.